We're going to go over the math reasoning support diagnostic test first, and I will post this in Blackboard for you. But it is, the diagnostic test is basically 6 questions that go over some of the things that you did in the support part of this class. Okay, so the very first question says, grab my calculator real quick. The very first question says, evaluate or simplify the following expression. And you could simply just type this into your calculator, 2 squared times 2 to the 6, and you would get the answer. Okay, but you should also know that if the bases are the same, since they're both 2's, that you can take your exponents and add them. So this would be 2 to the 2 plus 6, which is 2 to the 8th power. And then you could just type that part in your calculator, which is 256. So D would be the correct response on that one. Okay. Question number 2 says to write the percentage as a decimal. Well, if you're given a percentage and you want to write it as a decimal, you need to take that number and you need to divide it by 100, or you could think about it as moving your decimal 2 places to the left, but that's going to get you 0.379, which is B. Number 3 says to write this as a percent. So now we're given the decimal and we want to write it as a percent. So we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to, instead of dividing by 100, you're going to want to multiply by 100. So it's going to give you 4%. Okay. Number 4 says, last year, 9 employees of an electronics company retired. Their ages at retirement are listed below. Find the mean retirement age. Round your answer to the nearest 10th as needed. Okay. Well, to find the mean, you're going to want to take all the numbers. They don't have to be in order, but you want to take all the numbers and you want to add them up. Don't forget, you could use the list on your calculator if you wanted to do that. When it's just one thing like this, I tend to want to just add them up, since I'm going to have to type them in the calculator anyway. But I would always go back and make sure I typed in the right thing. So first step is to add all these numbers up. So 54 plus 66 plus 67 plus 51 plus 68 plus 58 plus 59 plus 52 plus 55. Okay, and that top comes out to be 530. Now I'm going to eyeball what I added in just to check and make sure that everything looks good. Sometimes I even type it in again to make sure that I get the same answer twice. But this does look good. So we need to do all of those divided by how many there are. And there are 9 scores, so we want to divide by 9. So 530 divided by 9 comes out to be 58.8, repeating. Okay. And since that would be an 8 that's next, and we want to round it to the 10th place, which is our first decimal place. Since this 8 is bigger than 5, we want to round up and make that a 9. So that correct answer would be B, 58.9. Number 6 says, use the compound interest formula for compounding more than once a year and to determine the accumulated balance after the stated period. Okay, so we're going to need to have the compound interest formula. Okay, so let's pull that up real quick. And we talked about this. I want to say that it was in chapter 5. I just want to make sure that I give you the exact same formula that you had before. Sometimes I tend to, if I'm doing this by my head, I tend to, I make up a formula that maybe you haven't seen before, and I want to make sure that we get the one that is in the book that you are used to. So, compound interest formula, and this is going to be $5,000 deposit, APR of 4%, and we are compounding for 6 years. Okay. So the formula that we want to use is A is equal to the principal times 1 plus APR divided by N. N is the number of times it happens during the year. All raised to the N, that's how many times it happens per year, times Y, which is going to be your number of years. So we're starting out with $5,000. We want to, the APR is 4%. You always want to write that as a decimal. So you would take 4 and divide it by 100 to make it a decimal, which is going to be 0.04. So 0.04. And we're doing this monthly, so it's going to happen 12 times a year. And we're doing that for 6 years. Okay. Now you can type this whole thing in your calculator, or you could divide it into parts. It depends on, especially if you have a TI 84, you could potentially type this all in the calculator at once using that alpha y equals to get your fraction to come up, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to type it in and make it look exactly like that. Okay, and I am coming up with $6,353.709, and we know that we are rounding to 2 decimal places because we're talking about money here. So this 9 would make this 0 round up to a 1, so the right answer would be D here. Okay. Number 6 says, calculate the amount of interest you'll have at the end of the indicated period. So we're going to invest $46,100 in an account that pays simple interest. Okay, simple interest formula is a little bit different than the compound interest formula. So let's go back and look at that one real quick. Make sure you're able to get this question correct. Okay, in order to do the simple interest, what we're going to want to do is take our $46,100 and we're going to multiply it by 0.03. Since it's 3%, we don't want the percent, we want the decimal. So we're going to divide by 100, which gives us 0.03, and we're going to do that for 6 years. And when you do that, you're going to get $8,298, which is D. Okay. Now, so that is the end of the support review. I will post this on Blackboard